Yo, what's up, y'all? This is Nice Raiders. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so. Leave your comments, your thoughts on this video. Today I got my review of Bleach Tybw Blood War Core 3, Episode 3. So basically, picks off where it's an episode dedicated on a continuation of Ukitake, and titled Bleach number 29, The Dark Arm. So I definitely love this. Lots of flashbacks, lots of lore. Spoiler alert, if you don't know, then don't watch the video. But if you do know, then, you know, just stick around. And if you don't care, then yeah, hell yeah, stick around. But yeah, I will say, it is crazy. So let me go over here. So it starts off with Ukitake, right? Ukitake, he's chanting Mimihage. He's doing his ritual to sacrifice himself. And basically, with Mimihage, he's one of the arms of the Soul King, the divine power, right? He says Mimihage, 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 Mimihage. Eat my illness away and devour my organs, and basically like a ritual enchantment for giving his life. So basically, Ukitake as a kid was born with an incurable illness. So with that illness, his parents tried to make a deal with the divine power, one of the hands of the Soul King, and with that divine power, you know, it prolongs his life, but it definitely did not cure the illness. But it's basically a one-time life exchange, right? And so with that, it goes to that next part, more flashbacks of Ukitake as a kid, and that's a pretty cool shot. Like that hand looks pretty. This animation, even like this picture right here, it just looks really very clean, if I'm being honest. But like with that, you know, Ukitake as a young kid essentially gets devoured by this divine power, and this divine power saves him. And if I'm being honest, when he gets devoured by this power, it's like it looked like the Unknown from Pokemon. I'm sorry, but yeah, it looked pretty cool, if I'm being honest. So I thought that was pretty great. So more flashbacks. He gets saved. His parents are happy, and it goes to mid-teen and or as a student at the Soul Reaper Academy, of him and Shunsui sparring. They show no mercy towards each other, because even though as Ukitake was coughing out blood in their duel, Shunsui just kept fighting. You know, he didn't want to show mercy to his peer per se, even though he was he made a comment about him being a sickly person. No, Shunsui, even no mercy even against me, a sickly person type of thing. So it's like, oh shit. And so it definitely made it pretty entertaining to watch, because the more scenes after this is more flashbacks of just them hanging out, and then Shunsui even says, hey, or Ukitake says, hey, or one of them says it's like, I've been staring at you, or I could feel you stare at me while in class, type of thing. And then Shunsui was like, yeah, I could definitely feel that. And Ukitake was revealed the actual truth, was like, well, I just wanted to get to know you better so I can get those Monaca sweets. And so this next part was just wholeheartedly a light, you know, flashback right there. And with this flashback, it put the mood in a easing spot. You know, even though it was a flashback, it was just very playful, because, you know, it's just them having fun. But, you know, they're in the middle of the Quincy invasion, Soul King being killed, etc., etc. And so eventually goes back to right before this, Shunsui remembering a thought about the quote about two battles to defend honor, and the other one is to save others, right? But then it also goes to this scene right here. He's in front of the Central 46. It's a flashback, definitely, and it's right before or right after Kai and Shiba gets killed. And, you know, Kai and Shiba, lieutenant of Squad 13, gets killed, and Ukitake is in front of Central 46, the governing body, saying, hey, I do not need another lieutenant. Lieutenant Shiba could never be replaced, you know. And they get mad at him. He's ruffling up them feathers, and so he's like, no, I'm good. He's my homie. Then no one can replace him. I don't need another lieutenant type of thing. Eventually, it does go to more flashbacks, and this one's more into the future, I would say, more of a recent scene. And right before Unohana takes off to go and fight Zaraki and unlock his true powers, which eventually kills Unohana herself. Ukitake says, "Hey, I'm right behind you." He basically says that because he knows that Unohana was ready to pass on and give the title formally to her predecessor, which is Zaraki. And so more flashbacks was great in that sense, and it definitely goes back to Mimihagi and the actual dark arm itself. And with this scene right here, that looks like a crazy tattoo to get. That's if I'm being honest. That would be a nice tattoo, maybe on the neck, maybe on the back, or maybe on the arm itself, like the actual arm. And so, like, he's doing the ritual sacrifice. In the midst of all this, Ichigo is fighting Yuha. Ichigo and friends, Yoruichi, Chad, Orihime, they're trying to fight Yuha, and they devise a plan to distract Yuha. But that doesn't work. Come on, man. He has like a billion eyes. He definitely has them crazy eyes. That's all I'm saying. But with that, it's like they try to distract him by doing some plan, and the Orihime was there to like try and heal the Soul King. And there's, come on, Yuha Bach was like he was like laughing. Like, it's like, you really think that's gonna work? A human trying to repair and save the Soul King itself. That definitely did not work, but it was a nice try, I would say. And so that happens, and in the midst of all of that, right after is like the hand that you saw coming up earlier in the previous time card. It was like this hand, which was released by Ukitake itself, goes back to the Soul King, and it stabilizes the tremors that was being brought up upon because of the Soul King being deceased. Because the Soul King itself was originally stabilizing the three worlds altogether. So I thought that like this sacrifice was just a crazy one. And we, like, Urahara himself hasn't even heard of Kamikake, the ritual, and he didn't even know how much time left. Like, Ukitake itself, in the manifestation of the Soul King's hand, the divine power was able to like keep the Soul King together, per se. And so I thought that was a crazy shot, and it definitely goes and pans back down to Kyoraku and Shinsui Kyoraku talking with Aizen himself, the goat. Ba 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 ba. He had a key. He was allowed to use 3 keys, right? A box full of keys. He was allowed to only use 3, but he only used 1. And basically, Aizen, being the goat he is, he was like, all right, that's cute. And he frees himself. You need all the other keys to fully free himself, and Shinsui only freed his mouth. Pause. But like, from restraint. And it's been like 2 years since he was able to speak, per se. But with this freeing of the goat Aizen, he basically tried to see if he can come back up with him to the surface, right? He said, "Hey, we basically," he tried to sweet talk him. "Hey, we basically have the same interests." And Aizen was like, "Oh, you never change," because in terms of like morality, I would just say. So Shinsui is the new captain commander, if you don't know, of the Gotei 13, and he's a different one morally than Genryu's side himself, right? Genryu's side is very honor, tradition, code type of thing. And Shinsui's going to do what it takes to get it done. Like, if that means sacrificing the morality and the honor of pride bestowed, or of the pride that was before him, like Genryusai, then he'll do whatever it takes. For example, like him versus Coyote Stark. Like I think he threw his hat one time. It started trying to blind Stark while they were fighting the first Espada. He threw it while they were talking still about like their values, their beliefs, and why they're fighting. And he throws his hat and he tries to do a quick sneak attack. Like that's like a moral / honorable thing that other captains wouldn't do, you know. And so he's gonna do whatever it takes. And this Quincy invasion and the death of Soul King being the biggest threat, you know, I would think that his thought process was like, "Hey Aizen, you're my enemy, but the enemy of my enemy is my friend," type of thing. The enemy, yeah. So it's like they have a bigger threat, Yuhabach. He's the enemy, but Aizen was a former enemy. He still is, obviously, but it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So if in this situation, like Yuhabach is the enemy of Aizen, then Shunsui and Aizen are friends because the enemy of my enemy is my friend, type of thing. That's how I see it, anyways. And I thought it was great. Like, but Aizen still being a goat, he was like, "Hey, even though he freed himself, he's like, you still have 2 keys you can use, don't you?" So it's like that shit was crazy. And so Chair-sama makes his appearance. Chair-sama's crazy, by the way. If you don't know, now you know. Chair-sama's right there, right? He's like, won't you sit on this and let us carry you to the surface? And one of the guards just like was not thinking at all. He was like, we have to restrain you before you sit on this chair, before we escort you to the top. And then he gets his fingers all sliced off. He's like, these restraints. Aizen was like, these restraints do not restrain my spiritual pressure, type of thing. And I thought it was just like definitely Aizen's the flex moment. I'm telling you, he's crazy. Fused with the whole Goku. The only person who could beat him was the main character. And so it was like, come on, you think some belt restraints are gonna restrain the goat? Bah. And so obviously Kyoraku was like, don't you want to breathe the air? And it does go back to Aizen saying, hey, breathe the air, you say. And his thought process was like, why would I want to breathe the air when the pathetic Soul Society is about to get crushed by Yuhabach? And so Shinsui's definitely still trying to align his interests or open up his Aizen's view to essentially fight for the Soul Society, right? And to fight against Yuhabach, because Aizen is the GOAT, right? Chad is solid, don't get me wrong. Chad, he can fight. He's not gonna win, but he's solid. He's like Piccolo, you know. He's there to jump in. Hey, Ichigo, you fighting him? All right, I'm in there, dog. You know, and they're fighting the strongest dude. That one shots Ichibei himself, like that. And you got Chad trying to just pummel him to death. But definitely Aizen is the GOAT. Shinsui is a different leader, I would say. He had to grow after Yamamoto's death, and Aizen is ready to go crazy, I'm telling you. And what's awesome is, and spoiler alert, what's even better is, like, in the lore of the light novels, you got Azashiro, who eventually talks to Aizen, and I just want to see that animated. Or even Azashiro, you know, destroying Kuriashiki, one of the previous Kenpachis as well. They're both Kenpachis, by the way. So that would be nice. More lore on everything, the Hell Arc, all the Kenpachis, you know, all the captains in Hell, what they do there. Like, oh my goodness, that would be crazy. I know the Espadas are there, Zio Apero's there. Come on, man. So if you don't know, now you know. But definitely the next part, as it ends, Aizen said, "Hey, why would I want to save this pathetic soul society that's about to be crushed by Yuhabach?" And it definitely goes to this end credit. And I found this photo. I'm telling you, this photo is like, the end credit scenes is wallpaper worthy. Every shot, every scene, it's so high definition and crisp, and it's so cool. And I thought this one was cool because it definitely fits the theme of the episode, the Dark Arm. And I definitely can't wait for the fight as well, for the other arm. The Quincy Pernita against Mayuri. Mayuri is an MVP. He really is. There's lots of key moments and key characters, but Mayuri's gonna go crazy. So I thought it was a great episode. I'm sure if you don't know, then now you know. But like, Bleach is like one of my favorite things ever. I grew up on Naruto. I'll say this again. I grew up on Naruto, but as an adult, I relate to and I empower myself in the lore of Bleach so much because there's so much despair, hope, tragedy, just being strong so he can protect and win for his friends and family, that type of thing. So I can definitely relate to that with Ichigo and life in general. But yeah, they got that last part right there, Bleach number 30, The Betrayer. Definitely going to be about Aizen. I can't wait for more flashbacks and more lore, especially as well for Jugrum and Hashfalt. Them as kids, Meyer versus Pernita, Nanao and Shinsui versus Lilibaro, Urahara and Yoruichi, and all of them versus Askin or Grimjo. Definitely gonna be good. It's got to be good. So let me know your thoughts on this episode. I thought it was great, and I just had one more thing on the like the mastery of the time, like the card, like the episode cards. It's just so great every time they do it. I love the transitions, especially like when they had everything but the rain. It was like raining. It slowed down and stopped, and had the title card. Like, that's so good. Like, Bleach title cards for 1,000 Year Blood War. I loved it so much. So let me know what you thought of this. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. You already know. Nice Raiders, your boy is out.